Thanks for joining myself and Get Your Play Online for Doodling with Amanda. Today on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, the doodling that we're going to be doing is also going to be a little bit sciencey as well. We're going to talk about how shadows can help us tell time. Have any of you ever heard of a sundial? Have any of you ever seen a sundial? Maybe in front of a building or in a garden? Because sundials can be seen in all different areas to help us tell time. So let's start with some shadows and talk about shadows. Shadows need a source of light, usually the sun or a flashlight, and an object to create the shadow. I'm going to hold up this piece of paper, and if I was just to take my hand over it, I don't know if you can see very well, but I can see my shadow from my hand. If you were to stand outside and just look down, you can see that you've made a shadow of yourself in the grass. Do you know what a shadow is? A shadow is light that is blocked by an object. Shadows change size based on how close or how far away that object is to the light source. Humans use shadows to tell times. That's why we have clocks. The clocks that you are used to seeing look like this. We got the 12, the 6, the 9, the 3. This is our clock that we use. But did you know that there's also the 24-hour clock, the military time? Not only does it have the 12 and all the other numbers, but it goes all the way up to 24. And that's what we refer to as 24-hour clock. Our clocks are based on Earth's movement around the sun, and time is based on how the Earth spins around. In one day, the Earth has spun an entire circle. Now, you may be wondering, how do you use a shadow to tell time? And as I said, we're going to be making something called sundials. Sundials can be found in all different places, and they can all look different. I have a few pictures of some sundials to show you. This is what some fancy sundials look like. And here's another sundial. A sundial is a device that tells the time of day when there is sunlight by the apparent position of the sun in the sky. There are two basic parts to a sundial. Let me grab my picture to show you again. The two basic parts to your sundial are the pointer and the dial. So we have the dial and we have the pointer. The pointer casts the shadow on the dial, which tells the time of day. Now, we're outside. I'm outside. I don't have fancy materials to make a sundial, so I'm going to use the materials that I have with me. We're going to make a sundial that looks like this, using a stick, rocks, and the ground, along with either a marker or paint to paint numbers. So before we started and I went live, I collected 12 rocks. I collected some small size rocks as well as some larger rocks. Now when you look at a clock, let's get the picture of the clock that I had. When you look at a clock, you see that there's little lines and dashes, and in between those dashes represents five minutes. So going from here to here to here, that's 5 minutes. If you want to collect 12 big rocks. Then you can write on the rocks 1 through 12. And then you can also collect additional rocks to represent the passing of 5 minutes. And you can add those smaller rocks in between. It's not pictured here on this sundial, but you would put the big rock and then a little rock. Big rock, then little rock. I'm not going to use the little rocks. I'm just going to use the big rocks for today. So the materials that we need, again, are going to be 12 rocks, a stick, and I painted my stick purple just because I'm outside and it may be a little difficult for you to be able to see the stick once I put it in the ground. We need a compass. Have any of you used a compass before? Well, you need a compass, and that's going to help us tell the direction for north, because we want to lay the first rock facing north. You also want to use some paint, whether it's black paint, don't forget your paintbrush, a marker, or I have these paint sticks that I like to use. So I'm just going to use a paint stick, and it's washable too. So that way the numbers will just wash off of the rocks later, and then I can put them back in the garden. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is you want to write 1 through 12 on the rock. So I'm going to take my first rock and I'm just going to put a number 1, just like that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then our final rock, 12. I'm going to close up our paint, put them all away. Alrighty. Now we need to use the compass, and the compass is going to help us find the direction for north. Where did I put my compass? For those of you who don't have a compass handy, but you do have a cell phone, or mom or dad will let you use their cell phone, there is an app that is in many phones that is a compass. So I'm going to pull mine up, and it looks just like that. Can you see the compass? All right, so what you do is you hold it down, and you want the dial, you want to wait until the dial points to north. So I'm going to use my big, gigantic compass, much easier to see than on my phone. I'm going to see where the dial points north. And look, it's pointing that way for north. That means that the number 12 rock is going to have to point in that direction. I'm going to put my compass down, and I'm going to tilt the camera down. Hopefully everybody can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to take the number 12 rock, and I'm going to take the number 12 rock, and I'm going to place it in the north, facing north. Okay, so I have 12. Going clockwise, I'm going to place 1, 2. Where's my 3? 3. I think my 4 is somewhere. Where do we put 4? All right. We have 5, 6. 4 ran away. Okay, got 4, 5, 6. Now the 6 goes right underneath the 12. Where's 7? 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, friends. Let's see. Can you see the rocks? Now you're going to take your stick and you're going to place the stick right in the center. So remember, we have our pointer and we have our dial. The rocks represent the dial. The pointer is the stick. And I'm sorry if my umbrella handle keeps getting in the way. It's very sunny out, so I had to place an umbrella over my computer. Now, for reference, when you put the rocks down, take a look at the picture of the clock and just make sure that you've placed them all in the correct positions. And I encourage all of you throughout the day to leave your sundial out and come check the times throughout the day to see where the shadow has fallen on one of your rocks. Okay, again, that's the sundial. It should look like this. And I'm just going to give you all a helpful tip. You're going to want to use a stick that's probably thicker and taller than this little one that I used. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any others lying around. The materials that we used for our sundial was either black paint, a paint stick, or a marker. Collect 12 rocks. Try to keep those rocks roughly the same size. Remember, you can use 12 larger rocks, numbering them 1 through 12. You can use some smaller rocks to indicate the 5 minutes in between. And again, those rocks would be those little dashes in between each number to help you tell the time. The parts to the sundial is the dial and the pointer. You also may hear the term plate. That is also a word that's used for the dial, where the numbers go. I encourage you to keep your sundial out as long as you're allowed to, and check it throughout the day so you can help mom and dad tell what time it is. Thank you so much for joining myself and Get Your Play online. Again, my name is Amanda, and I really appreciate you taking time on your Tuesday to doodle with me. Thanks for making sundials. Have fun and enjoy the rest of your day.